Have you ever found yourself questioning every decision you make? Maybe you replay conversations long after they've ended. Maybe you ask everyone else what they think before you allow yourself to have your own opinion. Or maybe, after making a decision, you wonder whether or not you've made the wrong one. It can feel like you've somehow lost the ability to trust yourself. As a therapist, I see this every day. And as a human being, I've also known what it feels like to search outside of yourself for certainty. But what if the difficulty in trusting yourself isn't because you're incapable of making good decisions? What if it's because somewhere along the way, the relationship with yourself got interrupted? Today, I want to explore why self-trust can feel so difficult and how we can begin to grow that again. Hi there, if we've never met, my name is Raquel Perez, and I am a licensed therapist here in the state of Colorado and the creator of Everyday Therapy. Here we explore the nervous system, relationships, emotions, lived experiences, and how they shape our lives. Not so that we can judge ourselves, but so that we can understand ourselves with more compassion. Because understanding ourselves creates space, and in that space, healing becomes possible. When people think about self-trust, they often imagine confidence. And confidence sounds like, I know exactly what to do. I'm certain this is the right choice. I don't doubt myself. But that's not really what self-trust is. Confidence is often built through experience, success, and knowing that you can do something well. Self-trust is something totally different. It's the quiet belief that no matter what happens, you will remain in relationship with yourself. It says, even if I make a mistake, I will respond with curiosity instead of shame. It sounds like, even if this decision doesn't turn out the way that I hoped, I won't decide that I'm broken. And even if I need to change course later, I will trust myself that I can adapt. Self-trust isn't about predicting the future. It's about believing that you can meet yourself there. And that shift, it changes everything. Because if self-trust depends on never making a mistake, you'll always feel anxious before making a decision. But if trusting yourself means that you will care for yourself no matter what happens, decisions become less about certainty and more about staying connected with yourself. None of us are born trusting ourselves. We learn it through relationship. As children, we discover who we are by paying attention and seeing how the adults around us respond to us. When a caregiver notices our emotions, respects our boundaries, allows us to be curious, or repairs after conflict, our nervous system begins to absorb a very important message. What I experience matters. My body gives me useful information. I don't have to ignore myself to stay connected. And over time, these experiences become the foundation of self-trust. But many of us grew up receiving very different messages. Maybe your feelings were dismissed. Maybe you were told that you're too sensitive. Maybe being agreeable felt safer than being honest. Maybe you learned that earning love meant taking care of everybody else's needs before your own. These aren't simply beliefs that we carry in our minds. They're experiences that our nervous system remembers. So instead of asking ourselves, what feels true for me? We learn to ask, what will make everyone else happy? Or, what's the right answer? Eventually, we become fluid in everyone else's needs while losing touch with ourselves. One of the most compassionate shifts that we can make is recognizing that what we often call self-doubt is actually an old strategy for survival. People often come to therapy saying things like, I overthink everything. I second guess myself constantly. I always need reassurance. I don't know what I want anymore. But when we take the time to slow down the conversations, we understand how these patterns make sense. If making a mistake once led to criticism, if expressing yourself created conflict, if your needs were ignored, or if love felt unpredictable, your nervous system learned that certainty was safer than spontaneity. So before making a decision, it scans for every possible outcome. It rehearses conversations. It searches for reassurance. It waits until it feels absolutely sure. The problem is that absolute certainty almost never comes. Your nervous system isn't trying to sabotage you. It's trying to protect you from experiences that it remembers as painful. Understanding that doesn't instantly remove the pattern, but it often softens the shame. And shame is rarely what helps us grow. People often imagine that reconnecting with themselves will feel peaceful right away, but often it feels uncomfortable at first because listening to yourself may ask you to listen to things that you have spent years pushing off to the side. You may realize that you're exhausted or lonely, or that you've been saying yes when you really wanted to say no. You may discover that the life that you've spent years building doesn't quite reflect the person that you're becoming. That's not because reconnecting with yourself is wrong. It's because honesty can feel unfamiliar, and unfamiliar often feels unsafe before it feels free. Our nervous system tends to prefer what's familiar, even when what is familiar isn't helping us anymore. So if listening to yourself feels uncomfortable, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're moving in the wrong direction. It may simply mean that you're moving beyond the old ways of protecting yourself. We often imagine that self-trust arises after making one life-changing decision, but healing is rarely that dramatic. Self-trust grows quietly. It grows when you pause before automatically saying yes, when you ask yourself what you're actually feeling, when you honor your need for rest before automatically convincing yourself that you need to earn it, when you change your mind because you've learned something new, when you apologize without abandoning your worth, when you make a mistake and you choose compassion over self-criticism. These moments, they might seem very small, but every one of them tells your nervous system, I am listening. Your experience matters. You don't have to earn my care. Trust isn't built through grand gestures. It is built through consistency, just like any healthy relationship. This is why self-compassion isn't an optional part of healing. It's the environment where self-trust grows. Many of us were taught that being hard on ourselves would help us improve. That if we criticized ourselves enough, we would eventually become better. But imagine trying to build trust with another person while constantly reminding them of everything that they're doing wrong. That relationship wouldn't feel safe. The relationship that we have with ourselves is no different. Self-compassion isn't pretending that mistakes don't matter. It isn't avoiding accountability. It's choosing to meet yourself with enough kindness that you will be willing to stay and learn. Because growth, it doesn't happen when we're overwhelmed by shame. Growth happens when we feel safe enough to stay curious. And over time, that curiosity becomes trust. If trusting yourself feels difficult right now, I want you to hear this. Self-trust isn't something that you suddenly discover. It's something that you slowly rebuild with one gentle choice, one honest moment, one compassionate response at a time. Your nervous system, it doesn't need perfection. It needs repeated experiences that remind it you are becoming a safe place to come home to. Thank you so much for allowing me to be a very small part in your healing journey. And even more importantly, thank you for showing up for yourself today, choosing to better understand yourself is an act of courage, and every small step you take matters more than you may realize. If you'd like to continue this practice, I've created a free meditation that pairs with this video for self-compassion. Sometimes understanding something with our mind is only the first step. Our body often also needs the opportunity to experience it. I've also created a free workbook for this entire series of reconnecting with yourself. It's filled with reflections and practices to help you continue the journey in between these videos. And lastly, I've created a free workbook to create safety in your environment to find that insight that you're looking for. All of these free resources that I've just mentioned, you can grab them down in the description below. And please take this very last message with you. Self-trust isn't built in those moments where you get everything right. It's built in moments when you remind yourself that no matter what happens, you are someone worth staying connected to. Well, my friend, that is all I have for this video. Until next time, bye for now.